Dr. Elizabeth Hafer wants you to get your head on straight. In a world gone sideways, having balance and integrity in all areas of life leads to having confidence that breeds clarity. Clarity is essential to living an authentic life, and all the information shared on the Get Your Head On Straight podcast is designed to inspire you to live your life fulfilled. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hafer. I am super excited about my guest today. I've known this awesome guy for a little over 2 years, and as I introduce him, you're going to want to get to know him too. Joshua Gray is finishing his last year at Life Chiropractic College West, and after working in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, he was inspired to leave his career in healthcare tech to actively participate in helping people get well. As a senior chiropractic intern at the Life West Health Center, he focuses on care that is light force and effective. He stays healthy with the support of his partner as they manage and prepare meal plans and workouts to fuel their busy lives. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend, Josh Gray. Hi, Josh.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
I am so excited to have you on my podcast. You've been on my mind since I started thinking about doing this thing.
Yeah? Is it because I'm a millennial?
That may or may not be part of it. And, it's really neat for all my listeners. About a week ago, I hosted a seminar where I taught the Blair technique to 13 students and 2 doctors. And Josh was one of the students in my class, and he was absolutely instrumental in making sure that all my technology ran flawlessly. And he even, in the middle of seminar, on our lunch break, helped me figure out how to cast my screen to a TV so that I could show everybody how to mark a digital x-ray. And I felt like it went over really well, and I was so thankful that he was there. So how about you? Did you think it went over well?
Yeah, no, it went really well. And I think being able to do things on the fly and adapt to kind of the needs of the group, it's the same reason why chiropractic works. It helps people adapt better.
You're so right. So why I wanted to interview you, Josh, is because you are absolutely incredible, and you are an up-and-coming master in the Blair world, in the chiropractic world. And as of recently, you were named the Student of the Year for your entire college. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What an honor.
Yeah, I was been approached and I was nominated by one of the staff at our school. And I was kind of shocked in that she was like, hey, I want to nominate you for this. And she was like, she started making a list of all the things that I had done. And has it really been that much? And even just talking about being in my last year at school, time flies. And so I guess when you're doing the things you love and you're working hard, time does not sit still. And it definitely doesn't seem like it's been that long. But yeah, it was a huge honor. And I hope to actually even leverage that, winning that award, to continue to do more work, both for chiropractic and for Life West.
That's absolutely outstanding. Another incredible honor that you were appointed to recently was the Blair Chiropractic Society actually created a student liaison position so that we would have a voice, a representation and leadership from students to students throughout the country and the world. And you were actually appointed as the first student liaison to the board of directors for the Blair Chiropractic Society.
Yeah, I'm actually super stoked about that. And, again, honored. I think that it's really about channeling the voice of students worldwide in the different student Blair clubs to the board of directors, and then also to practicing doctors that are members of the society, to say, this is to give the context and perspective that we have, and to make sure it's translated across and in a concise, cohesive message. So I think that it's going to be a huge undertaking, but I think it's going to be one that benefits the next generation of Blair doctors and then the next generation of Blair patients.
I could not agree more with you, Josh. And I mean, you make it seem so effortless to be so involved. And when I was going through chiropractic college, I had a lot on my plate. I was a single mom. I worked 3 jobs. And I was taking all the electives and studying extra things like the Blair chiropractic method. But you just make it seem so easy. And again, you're available for technology help. I mean, I know several people that text you on a regular basis and ask you for help with their technology. And you're doing that while you're balancing having a personal life, planning a wedding, graduating from chiropractic school. So you make it look easy. And I am proud to know you.
Thank you. I would actually say it's not easy. And for people that are maybe not doing the things that I'm doing, they're like, okay, how do they do that? It definitely is a conscious decision that people have to make to want to do the extra and to want to push themselves to the limit. People like to do skydiving. Being super involved and super committed is like professional skydiving. And so even though you're stressed out about an exam, you're still able to focus on that extra that you're doing. And it just takes one commitment once and then finishing that and then doing it again. So I think for anyone out there that is wanting to do more, start so that eventually someone else is looking at you thinking that it looks effortless. And it's really just consistent hard work.
I love that you mentioned the word consistency because that's how we get good at anything. And when I was in school, you always hear that old adage, practice makes perfect. Well, that may or may not be true, but it definitely makes permanent, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're consistently working at something that you're passionate about and that you know is going to make a difference, eventually it's going to seem seamless. I remember the first time that I looked at a protracto view in this clinic at Palmer College, I about had an anxiety attack because I knew that I had to do this technique. I knew that I had to learn this so that I could serve humanity and give people's lives back the way that mine was. But I looked at it and it was as if I was reading Greek and I was scared. But I remember my instructor, Todd Hubbard, telling me, you just have to keep practicing. And that was phenomenal advice. So I'm really, really glad that you brought that up because being consistent and just being able to finish the task at hand, follow through and move on to the next thing. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared because they're like, oh, I'm going to fail at that, or it's not going to be an A+ the first time around. And when I've done different like public speaking engagements, I checked my pulse on my iWatch and it's like, it increases, right? I still have that visceral response, even though I'm getting on the stage and I'm speaking, and to others, it looks like it's seamless. But it's really about like that fighting that natural instinct to be out of the spotlight and saying like, I can do this. And every time it does get easier. And so I would say starting out, you're probably like a C+, and then you move up into B and then A, and then you're like, okay, now I'm a master. Right. Now I'm a pro. But even the masters and pros continue to refine the 100th and 10th of a decimal for that extra perfection.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I actually got into teaching the Blair work, because if you can teach it and explain it to people, then you're going to be even better at delivering it. And so one of the things that motivated me to become an instructor for the society is so that I could continually talk about it. And thankfully, I have an audience of people that are accepting of my teaching. And it's been such a pleasure to be now up into the Bay Area 3 times this year talking about Blair Chiropractic. And one of the first times I got to go up was I spoke at the seminar, which is a Friday seminar that your school, it's like a mandatory attendance for every person in the school to attend. And your hard work for probably 8 months before me getting there in January led me to being able to walk out on that stage and share my life story and talk about what inspires me and how I can help inspire them to just do what they're passionate about. And it was such a huge honor to be there. And from that, it led into 2 incredible seminars where like 25 people are now exposed to this amazing thing called Blair Chiropractic that otherwise may not have been. It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, no, we were super happy to have you. And as a kind of trickle down effect of that, we have a Blair intern graduating this quarter, and she's able to pass on her patient base to now several interns because it's more than just one passing it to one. And so it's more people getting to experience Blair Chiropractic. It's more people getting to practice it before we even become licensed docs. So there's definitely been a snowball effect of the work that we did.
That's so awesome. So let's go back a little bit. In your introduction, I read and told our audience that you left the healthcare tech industry to come learn how to be a practitioner. What led you to making the decision to become a chiropractor? And then what led you to make the decision to be interested in practicing Blair?
Yeah, so I would say that the kind of decision to even leave a very well-paying jobs, very desired jobs with desired companies, it was not necessarily being fulfilled by my work. And I actually had another friend who had a very prestigious job, kind of was in the same situation, who had a health crisis. And he was actually younger than me. And I was like maybe 24, 25 at the time. And kind of seeing that, I realized like life is way too short to be doing something that you're not fulfilled by, even if it's like financially rewarding or you have the corner office or things like of that nature. And so I decided then and there, I was like, I'm not doing this. And having been in healthcare and been drawn to it because I had an interest in it, I actually had family that was going through health crises. And I was frustrated with kind of the care that they were being given and the systems that they were having to be put through. So I wanted to be part of the solution, both for my loved ones and for other people's loved ones. And so I basically started this process of like interviewing my friends that worked in healthcare. So different nurses, different doctors of all different specialties and backgrounds. And I ended up deciding that chiropractic was kind of the best option for me to be congruent with my beliefs and feel like I was making a difference in people's lives. And so the decision to want to be a Blair chiropractor actually was before I even decided to be a chiropractor, because up until that point, the only kind of chiropractic care that I had received was Blair chiropractic. And I actually didn't even realize how unique it was until maybe like starting school. So like second and third quarter. And so I kind of was like already very much invested and interested in it and knew that that was going to be very much part of my path. And so it just naturally incorporated itself in my decision to become a chiropractor.
That's fascinating. I didn't even realize that you had been under Blair Care first. Then you did all this interviewing because you are so good at like researching and making sure that you're making a balanced decision based on your value system, based on like what makes you tick. It's incredible. And then you went to chiropractic college and was like, wait a second, there's other stuff besides Blair. It's so funny because I had almost the opposite. I grew up under chiropractic and I didn't even know about Blair chiropractic till I was a year away from graduating from chiropractic school. So I think that's a huge win for the Blair world to have a guy going into college knowing he wanted to do Blair before he even knew about any other kind of chiropractic. That is what I want to hear every day. I want to have a Blair chiropractor in every community so that every student in high school has access to like say, hey, maybe I should be a Blair chiropractor when I grow up. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, I think it's been one of the things that's helped me keep my foundations and my groundedness in kind of my why and the different aspects that are important to me, because I knew it going in, and Blair is an elective at Life West. And so I wasn't able to take it until a little bit later on. And so everything that I was learning was still through that Blair lens. And sometimes I think it made it a little bit more difficult because I would challenge like different thoughts or concepts and ideas. But I think being open-minded enough to be like, okay, this is something different. Let me understand how this works together. And like, how is this different? What are the benefits of it being different? And actually, it's the same thing with the having taken a lot of other upper cervical electives, right? It gave me the context of, okay, how is Blair different for patients as well as practitioners from the other upper cervical techniques? And so then being able to, maybe not from an expert level, but be able to discuss the differences with future patients.
That's outstanding. As a student intern, give me a little taste of what you've been able to help symptomatically. And mind you, you're just like in your last year of chiropractic school, you're working under licensed doctors that are overseeing you. What kind of results and what kind of cases are you seeing as a student doctor?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the licensed doctors that oversee us, because I think it's definitely not easy to be in a kind of air quotes practice, 200 to 250 interns that have anywhere from 5 to 20 plus patients each. So we're very, very lucky to have the licensed doctors, the DAC bars that we have. I mean, the expertise is just astronomical at Life West's Health Center. And so some of the cases that our supervising docs and myself have, there was a gentleman that came in having headaches and had low back pain. And essentially the primary part of his care was being under upper cervical care. And then we would do additional things once he was holding. And so hopefully your audience is familiar with holding. So they're holding their upper cervical adjustment. before getting any other kind of care. And so recently they came into the health center this week and I was like, so how have you been since your last adjustment? And they said, been great. And I needed more, right? I wanted to know more. And I was like, well, have you had any headaches? And he's like, no. And have you had any back pain? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was really great to see kind of those symptoms, even though it's not necessarily they're making the connection to their upper cervical care, being resolved with their chief complaints.
So you as a student were able to take this man under care who had come in with headaches and low back pain. And to general public, one might say, what in the world do headaches and low back pain have to do with your neck, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you adjusted him. He came in. He didn't need to have an upper cervical adjustment. His neck was, air quotes, holding, and his pain was gone. He didn't have the symptoms of a headache. He did not have the symptoms of low back pain. And you're a student doctor. How rewarding is that? How much more do you want to get out and tell the whole world?
Yeah, and it's great, but it's also one of those things that, there's still even a little self-doubt. And so I check his scan and I go to the other docs. I'm like, is this skin clear? Are we sure this is not in pattern? And just really being like, okay, I'm at the point now where I'm very much trying to incorporate understanding the factors of being that successful every time. And so that can be reproduced across all of my patients.
Right. And it's easy, in my opinion, because I happen to do this every day for a living, to really get used to seeing incredible results on a regular basis. And I think it's natural, obviously, for you in the beginning to be like, is it really that simple? But it is when you deliver something that's proven, that is reproducible, and that is scientific. I mean, it's going to be able to reproduce in each and every person that you see. And even though every individual is different, the same great results occur. And that's what's so fascinating about it.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's a blessing to be able to see those changes, and not only from my care, but also from my peers, right? The cohort that we've gone through the basic sciences together, clinical sciences together. We're now getting to see patients and get to see our patients have these amazing results. And it's very rewarding, and it makes the long hours of studying worthwhile for sure.
Absolutely agree with you. I want to talk to you a little bit about your up and coming leadership in the Blair Society. As I mentioned earlier, you've been elected as our first student liaison to the board, but I met you a little over 2 years ago in Las Vegas at the chiropractic convention for the Blair Society that we had in 2015. And when I met you, that was the year that I won the award Blair Chiropractor of the Year. And that was the coolest moment because I'm standing at the top of this hotel in a suite. It was kind of like a rock star moment where all of your peers and everybody that you love and respect and all these students are staring at you and you're accepting this really incredible award, looking over the Vegas Strip on top of a hotel in a penthouse suite. I'm like, it doesn't really get much better than that, right? But I remember talking to you and you had just so much energy and excitement. And that was 2 years ago. You were in the beginning of your chiropractic career at that point, right?
Yeah.
So was it the party that got you hooked, or what is it that you love about the organization?
I enjoyed the party. It was really great to have that conference be such a early occurrence in my exposure to the Blair Society, to advanced Blair chiropractic, right? Beyond just being a patient. But I think that the thing that's really been defining for me is that I've had the ability to connect with so many different Blair doctors all across the country and the world, actually, and ask them questions of okay, what's it like to practice? What are your words of wisdom as me being pre-health center, me being in the health center? And now as I'm getting ready to graduate, what are your words of wisdom as I'm about to exit the health center? And so to really have that worldwide community of friendly doctors that want to see you succeed and know that your success is what allows them to refer patients across the country to you, and for patients to get that kind of care, it's really like a big family. And so I think that is the crowning piece of why I'm so happy to be part of the Blair Society.
I love that. And it's such a joy for me to be able to mentor the up and coming generation. And that's why I pour my heart and soul out into the seminars that I teach and the phone calls that I make, because being able to see somebody coming out of school be successful and be confident in their skill set is a win for not only the Blair Society, but for chiropractic. And for all the people that are searching when they get online and they Google headache, when they Google migraine, when they Google depression, when they Google low back pain, they're going to find us because we're going to be so successful that people are going to be talking. And it's incredible to know that as a receiver at this point, you feel motivated to then be a giver in the near future. And I don't see anything less than that happening with you because your drive is so contagious. So I hope that I get to work with you on the board for a long time in the future. And I cannot wait to see where you land. Do you have any clue where you're going or what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that is still to be determined. I'm very lucky to be planning a wedding with my partner. And so he and I will be getting married right before I graduate. And the world is our oyster, and we're going to work hard to achieve our dreams. And we're not exactly sure where we want that to take place. And so we're kind of still open to whatever opportunities come our way.
Well, no matter where you land, I know it's going to be an instant success, not without hard work and not without a lot of blood, sweat, and tears of joy, tears of heartache. It's going to all be there. No doubt. I've been in this game 9 years now, and it has been a lot of amazing work, but I'm so excited to know that where I am, where you're going to be, it's going to be beautiful. So I think that we covered a lot today, Josh. I am so thrilled that you took time on a Friday night to talk with me. And I really look forward to the bright future ahead for you. And I hope that I'm a part of your story in many years to come.
Yeah, I hope you are too. It's been a pleasure to be your guest, and I look forward to working with you more in the future.
All right, DC to B, Joshua Gray. I can't wait for your graduation, and I can't wait to have you right by my side calling you a colleague. And in my heart, you kind of already are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh, and we'll talk soon. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
So for all my listeners, that was Josh Gray. Obviously, you can tell I'm kind of a big fan of his. What I think is important for you guys to know about our little conversation is that if you're a student listening, you can have just as much success as he has. And that's simply by being consistent. And it's by putting one foot in front of the other and making choices and executing the choices and the steps that you have in front of you. And if you're a person listening, like just seeking out, like figuring out what is Blair Chiropractic, what is Chiropractic College, Google Life College Chiropractic West. I went to Palmer College in Davenport, Iowa. Those two schools, you really can't go wrong. There's a great school out east called Life. You can't go wrong with any of these chiropractic colleges. They're going to give you a really solid education, and they're going to teach you the philosophy, the art, and science. And they also offer Blair as an elective on their campus, which other chiropractic schools in the nation do not. I'm working really hard to change that, but at this moment, Life West, Palmer, and Life in Atlanta, Georgia have electives offered on campus, which is a huge win. So I hope that you enjoyed this interview, and I hope that if you have any questions, you'll reach out to me, let me know if there's anything I can answer, and I look forward to talking to you guys all really soon. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you for listening to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hafer. Visit wellconnectedchiro.com for more details from the show blog post and to learn what Blair Upper Cervical Chiropractic can do for you. To learn more about Dr. Hafer and her practice, you can find her at Well Connected Chiropractic in Mission Viejo, California by visiting wellconnectedchiro.com for more information.